My name is Turtle, and welcome to Pit People. Pit People is a game made by the Behemoth, the same studio who did Castle Crashers, Battle Block Theater, and are doing Alien Hominid Invasion. They're frequent sponsors of the event. I hope you know them because they're really cool. Their games are really cool, and I'm going to play one for you today. So Pit People is a top-down turn-based strategy game that will not be having permadeath, and will also not have an intro. I also don't want to quit. There we go. I mashed click too fast there. I'm just going to quickly set settings. You do need to do this in the run, but it's a good time to talk about the game. So the game is a lot like Fire Emblem, or maybe a little bit less, but XCOM. It's a turn-based strategy game, but instead of being based on a square grid, it's based on this hex grid. There are a couple of other unique things about it that will differentiate it and make it more, well, interesting than a typical Fire Emblem speedrun. No offense to Fire Emblem speedruns, it's just, at least like for like Fire Emblem 8 and stuff, it's like entirely fixed because the RNG can just be manipulated, but yeah, that cannot happen in this game, as you will quickly see. We also do have to turn on stream-friendly music. Please listen to Wash My Hands by Cormac. K-O-R-M-A-C. It's one of the best songs in this game. I listened to it at work today because it's that good of a song, and we don't get to hear it. But anyways, enough rambling, enough intro. Let's get ready to start the game. Estimate is 121, and we'll begin in 3, 2, 1, go. All right. So yeah, we immediately start off the game by wasting some time because I bought Castle Crashers and Battle Block Theater. There is no way to skip this, that chest if you have. But we get to our first RNG point in the run, and we got the good RNG. Awesome. So this game has a bunch of different races of characters, where we will only ever really see or talk about 4 of them in the run. But one of them is... Okay, I don't have any special ones. That's unfortunate. We're going to give you a... We don't have any of those. Okay. Maybe I didn't get a great RNG in that. But at the start of the game, if you skip the intro, you only have 2 types of units by default. Humans and cupcakes. Humans are kind of the default unit. All 4 of the main characters are humans. So that's Horatio, the guy with the mustache, Pippi, the girl with the hat, Yosef, the guy, the blondie, and Sophia, who I gave Hattie Haddington's face, because if I'm going to lose time to getting that treasure, I might as well get something out of it, right? So, I put the Hattie Haddington hat on Sophia. We also have a cupcake that is gluten, as you can see right here, and cupcakes, instead of being, you know, awesome like humans who can wield weapons, who can wield shields, who can have different helmet types, humans can equip basically every like equipment type in the entire game. It's great. Cupcakes, on the other hand, cannot. They only deal damage, or they only heal. They only heal. That's all they will ever do. So, since this is a speedrun, we don't particularly like cupcakes. And in fact, I will be sacrificing gluten to RNGsus as soon as I possibly can. Because what else is he good for? That's just how the speedrun goes. In fact, there we go. I'm going to place you. So, we start out with 5 guaranteed units. Those are the 4 humans that I mentioned earlier, as well as gluten. But, since we skipped the intro, which teaches you how to gain extra units, the game needs to give me a 6th unit to fill out my roster. And so the game gives me a 6th unit. There's a 50% chance of it being a cupcake, and a 50% chance of it being a human. Approximately. We want human. We want human. Cupcakes, slow, and bad. So, we got the good RNG this time around, but it's absolutely doable to just play with whatever strats you're given. Spoilers, you only have the extra unit for 1 map. So, even if you get 2 cupcakes, you can just use 2 sacrifices instead of 1, which is absolutely helpful. And in fact, actually, Cupcake isn't being a very good sacrifice. I want the Cupcake to distract as many of these backline units as possible. So we'll see if it can do that, because other main feature of this game that I should really mention as soon as possible. RNG. Oh boy, does this game have a lot of it. Everything in this game is RNG. Well, not everything, but like the number of units that spawn on certain maps is RNG. The placement of units on certain maps, RNG. The way the enemies move, RNG. What your units attack is actually RNG as well. It's a complete chaos fest, and I love this game all the more for it. And the run too, like, it's so fun to just be able to like say, okay, I need to do this turn and that next turn, so let me prepare this strategy like 3 turns in advance, but then of course everything goes wrong, and then you have to keep thinking on the fly. Like right there, that cannon shot had an RNG chance to destroy the wall, which I wanted it to do because my objective is up here. My objective is this big beefy guy, Helmetor. So we're going to try and punch his lights out as fast as possible. Well, of course we're doing it as fast as possible. This is a speedrun after all. I want you here, go. Maybe should have had the cupcake move a little further away, but that's fine. Right. There's so much talk around the early stages of this game. So, you've noticed that all I've actually been doing is controlling my unit's movement. Unlike something like Fire Emblem, where you would move your unit and then choose for it to attack, or use an item, or do something else. Cupcake is dead. I don't care. Permaneth is off, and also the cupcake does not matter. I don't like Sophia's position right here. That's fine. But, so for example, Yosef is positioned right here with a melee weapon next to 2 enemies. That means Yosef has a 50% chance to attack this enemy and a 50% chance to attack this enemy. The same RNG and logic applies to the enemies as well. So what really makes a good run of this game is being able to quickly calculate what is the best spot for you to position yourself in order to hit your target. So for example, right here, both Horatio and Pippi, both have a 50% chance to attack Helmetor, which is what I want. Right now, he's actually moved himself into a very vulnerable position, which is great. Actually, hold on. You stay here, you go here, you go here, you go here, you go here, go. This should be enough to end this phase of the fight. So see, since all 3 of my main damage dealers are only standing next to Helmetor, they will only damage Helmetor. And that way I can control the RNG and make sure that I'm getting a faster fight by hitting the target I want to hit. So the game is full of little optimizations like that, where you just have to play it, you go here, you go here, you go here, you go here, good. You have to play it as best as you possibly can, on the fly, doing the calculations for what is the optimal space to stand, what is the optimal movement path to take, and etc, etc. Okay, I'm going to start talking about this phase of the fight now. So every single... Hi, can dialogue speed up, please? Every single story quest in this game has 2 or more chapters, except chapter 2, but as you'll see in a sec, that one doesn't count. So we are now on to map 2 of this chapter, where we start to see our first extra enemy spawn. So this map can spawn between 3 and 5 enemies, and we got 5. So that is a bit of bad luck, but we roll with it, as all good speedruns should. We're getting a bit of extra dialogue too, but that is also fine enough. I'm gonna send you 2 back here, you stay back here, help blockade that guy in. So, sorry, there's so much to talk about. I'm trying to decide what to talk about next. Something that I need to mention, probably, is Sophia here. Sophia has a net equipped, and that net is the end goal of this chapter. Well, it's our end goal of this chapter. If you are playing this game, actually, I want you here, please, thank you. If you're playing this game casually, the end objective is actually to defeat Helmetor. Not for the speedrun. The speedrun is not going to defeat Helmetor, and instead, we're going to do something else. We're going to capture, or as I like to call it, kidnap Helmetor. That will have him join our team, even though he's, the first boss of the game. You can just straight up recruit the first boss onto your team, and he is an amazing, amazing unit. So we're going to do it. What that means is that we need to destroy every other unit on the entire map while keeping Sophia alive. Oh boy, that is pretty much one of the only reset points of the entire run, is if Sophia dies on chapter 1. Otherwise, it's pretty smooth sailing, all things considered. So I'm going to keep her at a safe distance from Helmetor, who's the unit who really does damage to her, and hope that she, there we go, levels up! So, since we ditch our Cupcake unit, who is, you know, the healer class of this game, we don't actually get traditional heals at all. What instead we can do, in order to keep our units healthy and alive, is level up, which happens at a pretty consistent rate throughout the run, as long as your units aren't dying. They will level up about once a map, which will give them a full heal. It does give them like tiny amounts of stats, but that's basically irrelevant in the grand course of things. So, I don't think we're close enough yet, but I'm going to have Sophia start moving closer to Helmetor to prep for the end of this map. Because once we defeat this last enemy, Ariana, we'll be able to kidnap Helmetor and finish out the map while getting an extra unit for our squad. So I'm going to play a little safe here. You're going to move up here. There we go. As long as this unit manages to defeat, there we go. We have now defeated the first map of the game and gotten Helmetor as an ally. Helmetor is the second type of race that we'll be seeing in this game, which it's going to give me a little tutorial on that I don't care about. Helmetor is a Cyclops. Cyclopses are one of the best unit types in this game, so it's really convenient that we get a boss-type Cyclops. I need to split. Oops, there we go. I've been playing too much Ori lately, which has an auto-splitter, so anyways. Hi, skip the dialogue, please. Thank you. Jeez. So, Helmetor takes up 2 unit slots, so we'll be getting rid of both our Cupcake and our Rando, and grabbing Helmetor for the squad. Because he takes up 2 units, it's a little costly to bring him in, but with the amount of damage that he outputs, it is 100% worth it. The big downside to Helmetor isn't his cost, it's how low his move speed is. So our humans have base 3 move speed, with Sophia and Horatio I've buffed to have 4. Helmetor has 2. Helmetor is really slow, which can absolutely be a detriment to certain strategies, but there are other strategies that I can use to work around Helmetor's slowness to let him stay in a more effective position throughout the entire battle. But I have to talk about Chapter 2 first, and to talk about Chapter 2, I have to talk about the lore. So, barring Chapter 1, the quest of this game is to rescue Horatio's son, Hansel, who was kidnapped by a giant space bear. So we need to rescue Hansel, obviously. Rescuing kidnapped kids is a good thing to do. In order to get to the giant space bear, we need to go to space. In order to go to space, we need a spaceship. In order to get a spaceship, we need to find where a spaceship is in this world. In order to find where a spaceship is, we need Yosef's other eye. Yosef is a demi-cyclops. He has one eye in his head and one eye that is somewhere else. Because in order to get Yosef's eye, we need to find where Yosef's eye is. In order to find Yosef's eye, we need to locate Yosef's friend, who knows where Yosef's eye is. In order to find Yosef's friend, we need to go to a place called the Bloodbath Lagoon. And in order to go to the Bloodbath Lagoon, we need a golden ticket, and that golden ticket was just stolen by this guy named Jerkimedes. So, we're going to talk to Jerkimedes to get the golden ticket, to go to the Bloodbath Lagoon, to find Yosef's friend, to find where Yosef's eye is, to go get Yosef's eye, to go find a spaceship, to go get a spaceship, to go to space in order to save Horatio's son Hansel from the giant space bear. No, I will not be taking questions. Thank you very much. Oh boy. So you might notice that I haven't really been doing anything this chapter, and that's because Chapter 2 is a gimmick. If you can't tell, all the enemies are cupcakes, which, as I mentioned earlier, cannot do any damage. They only heal. So this map is meant to be a map on a timer, where you have a set amount of turns in order to defeat all of the cupcakes. But if you just don't do that, the game lets you progress through the quest anyways, so it's faster to just stand here, not waste time on movement and attack animations, and just skip all the dialogue as fast as humanly possible, so we can get our golden ticket, and continue with the plot, which I'm not going to repeat, because boy howdy does that thing take my breath away. So yeah, that is Chapter 2. That is the only one-chapter map in the story. Everything else is at least 2, and one of them is 4, which we'll discuss Chapter 5 later. It's fine. I don't hate Chapter 5 at all. Chapter 5 hates me. This is gonna be a... Oh, it's not gonna be a fake gold. Okay, I started the last split late, but it's fine. So, let's talk about the overworld. So, between each chapter, you have to return to the home base, and then... Or at the start of each chapter, you start at the home base, and you have to go to a location in the overworld. What isn't very obvious from what I'm doing right now is that there are actually 5 different overworlds, all of which have their own different quest locations and different spawn points. So, if you... where's the pass? I hate this map. I hate most of the maps. A lot of them have Bloodbath Lagoon in particular in a pretty bad place. But yeah, so you're put on any one of the 5 maps at random with very little clues as to tell you which map you're on or where things are, but here we are. And the spawn point is also random. There are a bunch of spawn points, a bunch of different maps, and it leads to, honestly, one of the most challenging parts of the run, in my opinion, being figuring out where you are and where you're supposed to go. So I struggled with that a little bit there because I thought I was on a different map where you have to go up through the candy area in the north, but it turns out I was on this map where you have to go not through the candy area to the north. So that was just me forgetting which map I'm on for a little bit. But that aside, we are now on to Chapter 3, which is where the RNG really starts to ramp up. So earlier, in the spaceship was our first instance of random numbers of enemies spawning. This map has basically every reinforcement wave that isn't 2 dudes will always have, or will be a random number. So we got 1 random extra spawn here as compared to the bare minimum number, which is fine and dandy. I need to think about this. But the big RNG in this part of the chapter comes from these cannons. The enemy has 3 cannons on their ship. 1, 2, 3. And whichever units are standing behind them will automatically fire a cannon at a random space on the next turn. I also have 3 cannons, and so my units will also fire cannons at random spaces on the end of their turn. The cannons also knock back. Oh no, why would you do this to me? We're just gonna have to roll with this. So yeah, if I stood on either of these cannons, I would be knocked back off the cannon. I wouldn't get a shot, so I would just be taking damage for nothing. So a little bit of bad luck that the enemy has decided to target 2 of my cannons. But usually this phase is pretty consistent, all things considered. Even though it can snowball really, really poorly if you are always losing cannons via the RNG. But yeah, we're already over halfway through the cannon phase. And okay, I actually am consistently losing cannons to RNG. That's not good. We're going to switch around some of my units. I have made a mistake. It's fine. I only realized it after I finished my turn. But as soon as we can get enough cannon shots onto the ship, which by the way is also RNG, then we'll begin the next part of this map. So again, each chapter from here on out will have at least 2 maps, but oh boy. No, yeah, this is not going as I would have liked it to, which sometimes you just gotta deal with in the run. So I'm going to try my best to keep these enemies off while keeping my units that I want to push forward towards the front. Because probably next turn I will get... Oh, I got really bad RNG. That's like a 5% chance to happen with each hit. Okay. Yep, no, this run is a little bit going in the trash. But we will overcome. We always will. And by this run, I mean this chapter. One of the great things about running this game is that there is so much variance within the RNG that it is really easy to continue to balance out. Like, if I get a really bad Chapter 3, that'll often mean I get a decent Chapter 4, 5, and 6. Maybe then a bad Chapter 7. Something like that. There's always room to gain time, of course, by just getting lucky, but luck is definitely not the only contributing factor to your success in this run. Can you make it all the way over here? No, you can't. Horatio can make it all the way over there. Good job, buddy. So, as an example of a really definitive way to say that, Bloodbath Lagoon is almost always in 4 out of 5 maps. It is on the far right of the world map. The next chapter is always on the far left. So most of the time, you'll be spending about an even time going back and forth between Chapter 4 and 5, no matter which spawn point or map you get. The game is full of that. Like Chapter 5 and Chapter 6 do the exact opposite. By the way, we're gonna chant CHOG CHOG now. CHOG! 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 I love this game. We'll see what that actually means in a sec, I promise. But for now, after a little bit of a disastrous cannon phase, we are on to fighting the boss of this portion of the map, Captain Leviathan. All we need to do in order to advance through the game is to defeat Captain Leviathan. So we're going to have our units absolutely bum rush her. You'll notice over the course of this run that bum rushing people is a favorite strategy of the speedrun. We really do not care about the health of our own units as long as the enemy is dead. There will be an exception to that, but, you know, wait until like Chapter 6 to see that. For now, she has put herself in a very vulnerable position where I can completely surround her. This is absolutely great to have happen. Except she spawned a unit and it distracted Helmator, which was a 50-50 to happen. But we're still surrounding her. That's what really matters, because again, each of these units has a high chance to attack her. Although these two units don't have 100%, so I'm going to move weaker units there, so my stronger units have the better odds. So let's move you here, you stay, you here, you here, you here, go. Yeah, so again, all of the manipulation in this game is just trying to beat the odds as best as you can. Oh, and there we go. We actually got really lucky there, where a mortar or a skeleton that was thrown from the Sea of Blood by Chog helped us to beat Leviathan a turn early, which awesome RNG. Yeah, that absolutely makes up for the first part, the cannon phase. I just got beautiful Leviathan RNG there. So this is now map 2 of Bloodbath Lagoon, and my least favorite map of the game. Even though it features Chog, the giant tentacle monster who is very, very happy to see us with his big toothy grin, he is actually not Yosef's friend, the person we came here to see, but Yosef's friend is close. So the strategy for this map is to send 4 humans forward, because as you can see, 4 humans have a very, very consistent rate of destroying tentacles. If all 4 humans are attacking one of his tentacles, they will destroy it in 1 turn. And that's what we need to do to progress. Meanwhile, Helmator can one-shot these enemies. These are CYCLOPSes, and they're one of the most annoying enemy types in the entire game, bar none. Hopefully we never get to see why, but I'll tell you why. They have, on every hit they do, a small chance of taking away your unit's entire turn. And because of that, their AI likes to target your strongest unit, Helmator. It happened there. Of course it did. I jinxed it really hard. Ah, man, that sucks. But, no, I don't want you here. I want you here. Thank you. While that happens, Helmator just completely loses his turn. So he is my strongest unit. That also means my units, if nearby, will attack him. And he might counterattack my units, which is bad because his damage is insane. So what we do is we leave Helmator in the back. He cleans up those CYCLOPSes, which are constantly spawning, because of course they are. I think there are like 24 of them that will spawn in total if you wait this map out, which, no, we are not going to wait this map out. Oh my god. He waits back here and destroys them because he can one-shot them. So they stay out of my hair. They're still annoying because they make Helmator really slow at actually, destroying them. But don't like this happening actually, but it's fine more or less. They kind of blockaded my units in when all I want to do is bum rush the tentacle. It's fine. Again, we just deal with the RNG as it happens. It let me get a lot of extra damage on this pixie, which might be useful later because these things, which we will discuss later, I guarantee it, are some of the highest DPS units in the entire game. And so going up against an enemy one can be pretty scary. But it's already at about half health, so if I need to, I can just have a unit or two focus it down in order to protect myself. In the meantime, we will just be continuing to go at the tentacles. There are 4 of them that we need to break. If you couldn't see by, the 4 of them that spawned at the start of the map. I am going to have to deal with you, aren't I, all in? Yeah, I'm going to have to deal with that. It's fine. Or am I? we're gonna have Helmetor come deal with it. Yes, very good. Sorry, there is a lot to talk about, and I do need to take a breath from time to time. In a real run, this actually might be a good time for some donations, up until the next phase after the tentacle action. So yeah, you might have noticed that I was tanking mortar shots earlier in the first map. Yeah, well, let me just keep talking, because there is a lot to talk about, and for the sake of GDQ, I'll, just keep talking. For the actual thing, I would donations, but anyways. Mortars do different damage depending on which map you are in. So, for the first map, they did basically nothing. For the second map, which was just cupcakes, it was just cupcakes. There were no mortars. This map, the first round of mortars knocks you back, so you don't want to be in them. The second round, where you attack Leviathan, they do basically nothing. This round does something. So, you have to be careful around the mortars if you want to keep your units healthy long enough so that they can actually complete the objective of this map, which we are getting to now. Because, you might have seen him a little bit. Yosef's actual friend is Uvulor, a parasite living inside of Chog, who wields a bazooka. A mortar bazooka. That is Yosef's friend, somehow. So, in order to get Yosef's eye back, we need to talk to Uvulor. He's being a little bit uncooperative right now. He just wants to have some alone time in Chog's mouth, but we need his help to save a kidnapped child, and so, that's a good thing, a good Samaritan thing to do. So we're going to do that. Absolutely. Even if it means force. Actually, force is the only option you can use. This is a video game after all. I'm going to take a little bit of a cautious turn here. Let's actually put you here. You go here. I'm going to move you here. Yeah. Okay, so we're setting up for next turn. Because if you attack Uvulor at all, he will retreat the next turn. So the goal of how to defeat Uvulor as best as possible is to maximize the number of units attacking and dealing damage to him in one turn. Which, yes, does include Helmetor, who somehow made it all the way up here, and will be doing this much damage. Oh my god, that is really, really good. Yeah, he's already below half health in one cycle, which is completely more than optimal. Usually I go for a 3 cycle on this fight, but yeah, no, let's just get a 2 cycle maybe. It'll be great. I am going to have him start heading backwards, just because... Oh, Sophia, why are you confused? Okay, we're going to have you... Just because I do want to deal with these Octoclopses, because they are so annoying. But with our 3 humans up here, we should be able to break open Chog's mouth on the next turn. Oh, or this turn. Okay, I underestimated their damage. And, oh, Helmetor is once again in range. So, barring this guy being a complete jerk... No, okay, we're almost certainly just going to end it here. That went so unbelievably well. Like, wow, that must be one of my best second half of this map ever. Yeah, 2 phase on Uvulor. Super, super good. I am happy with that. So, in a cutscene that I'm going to skip, because all the cutscenes in this game are skippable, so skip, Yosef, makes Uvulor his parasite now. We'll call it that. This game is weird, and I love it all the more for it. But, we now have Uvulor with us, on our team, in our party, whatever you want to call it. And with him, we will be able to find Yosef's other eye. Awesome. So all I need to do is make it back to the home base. I'm going to do it as fast as I can while, not wasting nitro. It is a limited resource after all. But that is the end of Chapter 3. So, Uvulor, in a little cutscene that I'm going to skip here. Hi, Uvulor. Uvulor tells us that Yosef's eye is at Mount Olympus. So we're going to go to Mount Olympus. You might have noticed that, even though I'm buying nitro a bunch, I also bought, at the start of the game, 2 cages, one for Helmetor, and another one as well as a campfire. Both of those extra utility things are going to be used in this chapter, Chapter 4, which is one of the more RNG heavy chapters of the run. So we get to Mount Olympus. It has a rainbow bridge, which is definitely a Mount Olympus thing and not what's Thor's world? I don't remember anymore. Ha! Who knows the lore of other universes when you can remember the lore of Pit People? But Jerkomedes comes and he uses his magic to straight up steal the bridge. We no longer have a bridge. So we talk to Jerkomedes and he's like, hey, by the way, best joke is on the roof of the building. You can't see that during the actual game. It's one of the best jokes in the entire game. But Jerkomedes says, in order for him to put back the bridge, he wants us to get him an orphan. Interesting request, but this is an interesting game. That's just how it is. So, luckily, a store called Randall's Discount Orphans is really nearby. Look, 50% off. Wow, what a steal. So yes, we are going to be obtaining for ourselves an orphan from this delicious group of 4 orphans, which is the minimum number that can spawn. Great RNG there. So, yeah, a maximum of 6 can spawn, which can, in weird circumstances, be better. But in this circumstance, 4 is basically optional. So we'll be wailing as hard as we can on 3 of these, the robot, the human, and the mushroom, while leaving the troll alive. So trolls are another unit that's a lot like the Cyclops in that they are big, strong tanks. They take up 2 units, they have a lot of health, they deal a lot of damage. They are not as much of tanks, like not as much health and damage as Cyclops is, which is why we go for a Cyclops over a troll. But since we need to get an orphan for our quest, and he has the most health out of any unit, we're just gonna let him be alive while we take out the lower health units more quickly. And these, yeah, as you can see, the mushroom's already gone within 3 turns. This guy's getting pretty low. We're gonna gang up on the robot as soon as we can. And this is a very, very good 4-1, as I'll call it. Because again, there are 2 maps to 4. So once we defeat this robot, we will be very, very close to the end of this map, and we'll move on to get our bridge back in full. Wow, this RNG is absolutely killer. Like good killer, not like bad killer. It's not killing my run, it's just is killer. So yeah, boop, there we go. We didn't even need to worry about Sophia dying. If she somehow dies in this one map, you do have a problem and need to reset. You can reset just the one map, so it's not a huge time loss. As you can see, this map took like 2 minutes. It is still very, very quick to do. But we have Andrew, and conveniently, there was also a nice orphan, as opposed to, you know, the ones who were trying to kill us, named Cornelius Happy Days. He's going to come with us, and he's going to offer to be the orphan, because he wants a parrot, because he's a good orphan. If you actually play through the map, one of the orphans that's aggressive and attacks you says something along the lines of, "I chose the orphan life," which is a great line. This game is so witty and funny, but you'll have to play it for yourself because I'm skipping the dialogue because it's fast. What isn't fast, though, actually is what spawn we got. So it's a little interesting to have this be my submission, actually, because in like 90% of runs, you will get a pixie. So we actually want you here. You'll get a pixie on either the last map, which is about a 10% chance, or this map, which is like a 90% chance. So pixies are one of the best DPS units in the game. They only cost 1 slot, unlike Cyclopses, but they deal just about as much damage if you can position them right, which is a big if, honestly, with pixies. But their big downside is that they're glass cannons. So you need to protect them really well, which can often be troublesome. But we didn't get any, so we're actually going to go with a backup strat that I absolutely have rehearsed, because I pretty much always run RTA, and that is defeating one of the 2 enemies that spawn, which is the bare minimum. And so we will, instead of getting a Pixie for our team, we'll get another Cyclops. There is always a guaranteed Cyclops spawn on this map. Literally one Cyclops is the only thing that's guaranteed. There's another unit at minimum, but that other unit can be random. But you'll always get a Cyclops. So the game is always completable with either the Pixie strat or the Cyclops strat. We're just going to happen to use this slightly more rare strat, which is interesting to show off. And actually has gotten me a world record before, so like, it is not like run-killingly slowed. It is just, I don't like them as much because they are very movement slow. So certain maps will become a little more tedious for me. But for the meantime, hi, I just got 2 minimum spawns and a really good starting location. That's a gold split by quite a bit. That was like almost perfect map for, aside from the fact that we didn't get a Pixie. But instead, we will be grabbing our new Cyclops, making him our king unit, and just manipulating his equipment a little bit, as well as Horatio's equipment. And then you need a lighter shield, buddy. Yeah, you do. Nope, no. You need a lighter shield. There we go. Okay. No one is underweight. Perfect. So, with our 4 units, we'll now head into chapter... I didn't even need to use my campfire because I was actually so fast. Usually you'll use a campfire after chapter 4 part 1, but I beat that so quickly and without taking almost any damage that I just kind of forgot to use it because, you know, I didn't take almost any damage. So, we have been moved to a new map, which means I don't see where I'm at yet, but I'm starting to get a grasp on it. We are... that is a dead end, but up here, I believe, lets me through. Nope, nope, I meant to use a nitro there, but I was just a little too slow. Luckily, I can show off what happens if you get into an overworld match. Hi, let me click the button, there we go, fleet. So we're just gonna leave, barely any time loss. I just messed up my timing on nitro a little bit. So we're gonna make sure I don't lose any nitro, grab it, and we're off. So there should be an ice cap up here, if I remember this map correctly. And the ice cap, yep, should let us get over to the objective. I don't think this is the fastest route, but it works, and that's what matters. Yeah. There are often multiple different routes to reach your objective, just depending on where you spawn on the map. Because, of course, this game does have a lot of random spawns, so the developers need to make sure that you always have a path. So, we have now finally arrived at Mount Olympus in order to find Yosef Sai. And here, we come upon Chapter 5, which is my least favorite chapter by far. And I know I said Bloodbath Lagoon was my least favorite map, but that's because it's only an actual map. Sorry, a map of gameplay. The first 3 maps of this 4-map chapter are all stealth maps. And the stealth maps are coded in a way that there's almost 0 RNG. For the first 2 maps, there is exactly 0 RNG. The paths of all the enemies are fixed. The path that I take is completely fixed, because I know the route. Like, it's boring is what it is. I play this game, and I play this run to be excited by the RNG. This chapter is not that, or at least for the start, it is. So this is a great time to just rattle off like 5 minutes of donations, honestly, because there isn't really all that much happening aside from me following a scripted movement path to optimize the number of spaces I walk, because walking takes time, so we're going to do as little of it as possible. For the sake of marathon commentary, or at least for the submission, I would like to talk a little bit about the state of the run itself. So, estimate for this run is going to be a minute, or not a minute, an hour and 21 minutes. That is an estimate that I believe will fit like 99% of runs. There are occasionally runs that can go very poorly. Specifically, Chapter 1, actually. If you happen to let Sophia die, you do have to reset Chapter 1, which is a pain in RTA setting. But it's not death to the run. As you've seen already, most maps don't take more than 5 minutes tops. So resetting a single map, which is all you have to do in an RTA setting. Resetting a single map is not the end of the world, not by a long shot. So 121 estimate is pretty safe, actually, even considering all the different random elements that can happen. Again, they do like to balance out. So, for example, getting the Cyclops, while not my preferred strat, and I don't believe it is the optimal strat, it actually makes Chapter 5 quite a bit faster, even though it'll make Chapters 6 and 7 a little bit slower. You'll see what I mean when those come up, but it balances out, is my point with this. So, yeah, I'm not too worried about the game going way overestimate for any of the RNG chaos that happens. I'll be able to manage with backup strats like the Cyclops strat that I'm going to show off here, with strats to save units who are low. There are always ways you can do that, almost always. Depends on how good your positioning was earlier in the round sometimes, but for the time being, yeah. I am, as of currently, the only active runner of this game, and also the world record holder in both any percent and any percent co-op when I forced my cousin to play this game with me. I mean, we played it together casually, and he loved it. He's just not a speedrunner. But I forced him to learn the speedrun so I could, get the co-op record too, because I love this game and want to play more of it. So I am almost finished with a guide for the any percent route, which will be out hopefully within a month of me putting up the submission. Because, geez, I did not realize how hard it would be to write a speedrun guide until I started writing a speedrun guide. But that's just how it is. Small break from donation, what would normally be donation time here. So luckily, you can skip the second map almost entirely by taking a damage boost through the laser and then using a key card we got on the first map in order to talk to, I forget what his name is. I always call it something stupid that I mispronounce. It's something about weights, like he lifts, bro. I don't know. But by using him, we can skip most of the second floor and get onto the third floor, our final stealth mission of this chapter, and the only one where there's a slight amount of RNG. That RNG will spawn on the next turn, which is right now. Right? It's on the second turn. Do I know how to count turns? No, I don't. It is this guy. Meet the Hull Minotaur. The Hull Minotaur is a Cyclops unit, like Helmetor. Like Helmetor, he has a small chance, like 8 to 10% in that range, to knock Yosef back. If he does, I reset the map. Okay. Alright. So, we will get to see how a reset of a map works. Luckily, this game does give you like a checkpoint after every single map. So yeah, I'm just going to die as fast as possible and retry the map. A little bit unfortunate that he got that knockback, but again, it definitely does not lose a ton of time in the long run. So yeah, we deal with the Hull Minotaur by just running past him and hoping we had that like 90% luck to not get hit. But yeah, this would be a time to turn it back to donations. But otherwise, I just got this into my first marathon, like, it was announced a week ago. I'll be running this on Saturday, October 14th for the online marathon Midwest Speedfest Fall Frenzy. So, if that date has, like, not passed yet, you, the reviewer person, could watch it live if you wanted and see how I handle commentary and stuff in a live setting, which I hope I do really well at. I do pride myself on the ability to talk while playing games, as you can tell right now, when I have been talking for like 40 straight minutes while playing this game, even through what would be in a normal run donation times. I tried to keep talking so I can keep like explaining things, because there is a lot to explain about this game, mostly because I have way too much knowledge about this game in my brain, because I am obsessed with this game. But with that said, it's donations time. Let's just raffle off random tidbits and facts about the run for committee purposes is over. We're on to one of my actually favorite maps of the entire game. Chapter 5, Map 4. This map just has so much going on. So, we need to escape. And in order to escape, we're going to need some parachutes because we just so happen to be in like a giant floating sky base type thing. So all of our units need a parachute. Even flying units like the Pixie and Vampiress, if you happen to bring them here, still need a parachute. And this is actually where not having a Pixie saves quite a bit of time. So if we had a Pixie, we would bring 5 units in here. 3 humans, the Pixie, and the Cyclops. That means we would need 5 parachutes. Since we got the Cyclops strat instead of Pixies, we only need 4 parachutes. And 4 enemies spawned at the start, which is amazing and beautiful, and I love it. So I'm going to try and corral these enemies as best I can to bring them towards everyone else. Well, yeah, my Cyclops has hit like trucks, and we'll be grabbing 4 parachutes as fast as we can. There is a particular glitch that can occur on this map, where sometimes, normally what's supposed to happen, I should say, is if your units step on a parachute, like this Cyclops is about to do, they collect the parachute, and it gets removed from the map. Sometimes that just does not happen. I do not know why that sometimes does not happen, but sometimes it just does not happen. So that is really, really good if it happens, but it's only happened in, I think, 3 or 4 of my runs ever. So it just happens sometimes. We don't account for it. We, the run just attempts to get what we can as early as possible. So, I'm going to attempt to kill this guy right here. Yep, that's a parachute. And then I'll send both my units up, both my human units up to join the Cyclopses in beating the heck out of Earl. Sorry, Earl, but you're really low and squishy, and I want your parachute, please. So you're going to go up here, you're going to go up here. So yeah, all we need now is one last parachute for the road. Hey, look, there is a parachute. It's not within moving distance, so he'll need to walk another turn in order to grab it, but that'll let me move my Cyclopses a little closer to set up. Ooh, never mind. That happens every 3 turns, and I get moved close enough. Yes! Good RNG. Yes. Okay. Here, and then... Okay, your movement is going to be a little wonky, and I'm actually just going to have Horatio launch all the way across. That way he stays safe. So that was a little bit of a safety strat there. We now have all 4 parachutes, which means we are coming up on the end of this map. Meet the final boss of the map, and only the last enemy that you have to kill instead of being able to potentially kidnap. Marshall, the giant floating baby head. With a Pixie strat, it is nearly guaranteed to one-round him. With Cyclopses, yeah, you have to get really lucky, which we did, but we'll take him down next turn anyways. So, there we go. I'm just going to hold space to end turn. We're going to go bip, bop, boop, and there we go. That is Chapter 4 completed. Nice. Had a little bit of trouble with my human units nearly dying there, but neither of them did die, so we still got their full damage per turn out. So we're going to skip a cutscene, and now we are on to Chapter 6, what is probably the hardest chapter in the run. Hi, I do not care about the quest. Thank you, bye. Oop, I don't want to go in here, I actually want to go out. So, Chapter 6 is usually the hardest chapter in the map because of Pixie strats. Hi, can I put you away? Thank you. But we don't have Pixie strats, we have Cyclops strats. So actually, that is going to make this a significant chunk easier, even if it will be slower. Almost certainly slower. Pixie strats are really fast in the last 2 chapters. But we'll have a much safer time with our extra buddy Cyclops. So first, after that chapter, Chapter 5, which was full to the gills with stealth missions, we're going to go over to 6-1, which is stealth mission. Hi, can you get out of my way? Thank you. Yeah, I'm not sure what they were thinking either. Luckily, this one is what I'm going to call pseudo-stealth, as in it's not real stealth. I can still just kind of blitz my way through, as long as I am careful, is what it is. The setup for this map, we finally found the spaceship, or where a spaceship could be. It turns out the only spaceship available is owned by Jerkamides, the same guy we've been running into all the time. We're pals at this point, right? he's taking a nice relaxing spa day, but we need his help, so we're gonna interrupt his spa day. He really doesn't want to be interrupted, so he's set up some guards and some traps, which are these flower pots. If I even step through any of the tiles next to a flower pot, it will fall over and I will have to fight all these additional enemies, which I do not want to do, so I'm going to have to be careful about my movement. Luckily, there are some movement patterns in this game that you'll learn if you play through it enough, and I'll put in my guide as well, that mean I know, okay, unless I misclick like an idiot, that I will know that my units will move in specific paths, just based on where I tell them to go. So I can use that knowledge to pick the most safe route through here, and yeah, we're actually really safe at this point, unless I do some horrible misclick again, which I could do, but I managed to avoid the first one, so yeah, we're just going to stealth our way up. Once you hit this tile here, which Horatio will get in a second, we will begin a little bit of a mini-boss. Because, yeah, Jerkamides is mad about being woken up, so first off, he's going to take out that anger on his guards, which is nice, because we don't have to fight them now, because we completed the stealth segment. But he's also going to take out his anger a little bit on us. We're going to have to fight him. And Jerkamides is a mechanic. So he does two things. One, his attacks confuse units, which means they have a chance to attack their allies. Of course, his attacks have a chance to confuse units, so I actually got lucky there and that didn't happen. So now we can tip over the bases, I don't care anymore. So, okay, so see, now he's confused. That also happens when you hit him. Because when you hit him, he explodes or he poops away, which does confusion in an AoE, and moves him to a random, somewhat nearby location. So I can only have one unit hit him per turn if I'm unlucky. So usually you just send a single pixie up here, because the pixie deals immense damage and is fast. But for the sake of having Cyclopses, we want to have our Cyclopses get up here. So we send our humans up here first to trigger his AI, and then our Cyclopses to absolutely beef on Jerkamides, because that is what they do best. So I specifically do want to have this unit, Puppy Person, attack, because I made Puppy Person what's called in this game a hero unit. It's not super relevant to the run. It basically just gives Horatio +1 move at the start of the run, and then Pixie or Cyclops, whatever strat you're going for, some extra damage towards the end of a run. So, because the Cyclops is my king unit, it will get extra damage. Not extra move, but extra damage. So yeah, he hits like an absolute tank, and tanks like an absolute tank, believe it or not. So, with Jerkamides having retreated to his Jerk Dome, we're going to follow him in order to get a spaceship. And this is usually what is the scariest map of the run. If I can do the world map maneuvering correctly and not hit a bunch of nothing objects like an idiot, we'll get there relatively quickly. I get on my way, thank you, bye. Okay. So chapter 6, part 2, map 2, begins with a phase where Jerkamides will fight you, joined by anywhere between 4 and 7 robots. So we'll see how many we get here. 4? Oh my god, the enemy RNG, the enemy spawn RNG has been really blessed this run. Like, holy crap. I cannot believe we've gotten such good enemy spawn RNG, actually. But if he spawns more, you can be in a lot of trouble, especially with the Pixie strat, which again is like the default strat that we will try to go for in runs. Because this game has an elemental typing system. For example, Pixies shoot fire, and enemies with fur are weak to fire. Robots shoot electricity, and Pixies are weak to electricity. So you can very, very easily just get like chained into oblivion by robots stunning your Pixie, dealing double damage, and then all of a sudden your best unit is dead, and you're sad. So oftentimes it behooves the player to play a little bit defensively for the first part of this map with the robots. Luckily, a Cyclops can actually just solo this map. It's really slow, but if you need to, you can just have a Cyclops solo the entire map. It's, again, like, we'll almost never see it. I think it's only happened to me one run that I've lost all of my humans and the Pixie. But it's possible. It's doable. You know, it's just suboptimal, so we try not to go for it. Instead, our objective for each of the different phases of this map, of which there are 3. So in order to defeat a phase, you need to defeat half of the enemies or more, which is rounded in favor of the player. So if there are 5 enemies, you only need to defeat 2. Or deal enough damage to Jerkomedes to trigger the end of the phase. Then you need to go smash 4 consoles. These 4 first, these 4 second, and then these 4 at the bottom last. So that will repeat several times with different types of enemies. So the first wave is robots. The second wave is humans. So humans don't pose nearly as much of a threat to me as the robots do. Even though there are 7 of them, yeah, I'm not worried whatsoever about losing significant amounts of time to this phase. I'm just going to have my units still just try and attack as optimally as possible. Honestly, leaving my king unit here, just, yeah, he does over half health to people. Like, he's so good. But as soon as we whittle a couple of units low, again, we'll be advancing to the next phase. Or at least to the destruction part of the phase. So I'm going to move you down here, you stay here. So you can bop a man. Bop! Good job, everybody. That should be enough, yep, to trigger the destruction. So by knowing where all the panels are and by what units, or what types of units are spawning, I can adjust my strategies accordingly. So right now, I'm going to try and move my Cyclopses towards the bottom 2 consoles. So I know the next group of units is going to be the bottom group of units, or bottom group of consoles. And since I know that there are going to be no more robots for the rest of the map, if I were participating, or if I were building a fairy team, or pixie team, I can know that I am allowed to be a lot more risky with how I maneuver my pixie. So I am going to have Helmator come up here just in case. Okay, no one attacked the console because it was a random chance to attack the console or not. Things just happen randomly in this game, and you deal with it. But with these 2 in position here, and you already heading down to the bottom, yeah, there we go. We'll be on to phase 3 in just a second. Man, this run is going really well. I just looked over at my timer and like, holy crap. It was mostly that gold split by getting 2 perfect minimum enemy spawns on Chapter 4. But we are now in the final phase of Chapter 6, where the enemies spawned are Cyclopses, one of the highest DPS units in the game, Fairies, one of the highest DPS units in the game, and the little jumpy dudes who are called mascots, who buff enemies. So, very dangerous map. Luckily, again, Helmator can just solo this. I really don't care if Horatio dies. It'd be a slight shame to lose some of my DPS, but not all that consequential in the long run. What I'm actually going to do here is... Oh, also trolls will spawn every 3rd turn. You just deal with it. You just deal with it. That is how the RNG of this game goes. But an alternate completion, instead of defeating half the enemies, is to take Jerkomedes under, I think it's 2/3 of his health. Which usually is really hard because he teleports away every time you hit him. But he stood right next to Helmator the entire early portion of the match. So I could just have one of my biggest damage units wail on him like 3 turns in a row without him being able to teleport too far away. So by abusing that, I am now able to actually you go here. Yeah, you go here. So I'm able to progress to the destruction phase. Once I destroy these 4 consoles, which, oh, we already got 3 of them, look at that, because I positioned my units well. And next turn I'll be able to guarantee hit this. Yeah, no, just great RNG actually. All around this seed, or this run. So, even though Horatio died, basically does not matter, because we kept him alive long enough to get all of our objectives completed. And yeah, as you can see, we basically killed none of the enemies there throughout that final bit. We just kind of, I just switched strategies. That's not normally typically the strategy you want to go for, to destroy Jerkomedes, but in this case it ended up being optimal. So I thought that it would work, and hey, look, it worked. Awesome. I love when that happens. So, yeah, wow, this run actually has a chance of being the world record even without Pixie Strat, which is crazy. Because Pixie Strat is better, but Cyclops Strat can still work, as I'm showing off here as best as I can. So, story. We have beat up Jergaminis enough that his house started to collapse, and a falling piece of debris knocked the hat off of his head. Turns out the hat was making him more of a jerk. So now that the hat is off, he's not as much of a jerk, and he's going to let us use his spaceship, which actually is his house. So we'll be using his house spaceship in order to get to space, to do the whole list of things, to conclude the whole list of things that I mentioned way back in Chapter 2, which I did really fast, which I love that jump. So here we are. Now, final chapter of the game. Is faster with a Pixie, but we don't have one of those. So, oh, I only have 5 nitro? Oh, I'm poor. Usually, you'll be trying to grab as much money as possible by running into it on the overworld map. However, because of the spawns I got, I just didn't grab as much money as I usually would, and therefore I don't have extra nitro. I do want to save all 5 of this nitro for the very end of the game, because there is one last movement section that you can use nitro in, believe it or not. So I'm going to save that nitro for then, and just kind of slowly make my way over to the location of the final battle. This, in a real run, would be a good time for any final donations, and I'm going the wrong way. This is, not this, but yeah, this would be a good time for any final donations before the end of the run. Because, coming up soon, well, it's the end of the run. I kind of just said that. And it's the final chapter, if you couldn't tell by... Oh, you need to get out of the way. You need to get out of the way. You need to get out of the way. There we go. Alright, so... Sorry, I kind of panicked when he was in my way, but you can use cannon shots to temporarily stun enemies. It just has a long cooldown, so... Since I wasn't using any nitro, I needed to wait a little bit longer for that cannon to come into play. We have taken the Jerk Dome and are up to the fur, the belly of the giant space bear who is holding our sun captive. And so we're going to be as annoying as possible in order to get our sun back. This map, if you might notice, is covered in a bunch of purple fur. And if you remember well from what I said about 10 minutes ago, 7 minutes ago, there's an elemental system in this game where pixies deal increased damage to fur. Pixies also deal AoE attacks. Like, look at that guy. That is an AI pixie. I do not control him. But he just destroyed a fur in one shot and also took out half of this fur. The AI enemy pixies can also occasionally do it, but they won't target the fur. They'll target my allies and just happen to miss sometimes. So that's why having a pixie is so good for the run. Because pixies can just blitz through this wall of fur and this wall of fur, so we can get to our final objective, which is this star up here. You can see how it's a star. It's got like a little, it's about half a star that you can see on this screen right now. So, yeah, our objective is just to get up there as fast as possible. And since we do have a bunch of AI companions in this map that we don't control, they just go to random spaces and do random things and are occasionally very annoying. But what we can do is just leave them behind. So hopefully they will fight as many of the... Oh, not a huge fan of this situation. It'll be fine. We can have them try and take as much enemy aggro as possible, so hopefully the enemy decides to come in through here. No, they're being a little slow about only 2 of them are through. But that means that my units can just mega Unga Bunga straight to the end. Which, yes, Unga Bunga is fast. So we will be doing that. Already going to have a little bit of a path through here. I'll start sending my Cyclops up through. Another one of the things that makes a fairy even better for the endgame is that when promoted to your hero unit, the fairy gets 4 moves. If you remember from earlier, my Cyclops has 2 moves. So a fairy will move twice as far as a Cyclops in any given turn. So yeah, that definitely helps make the ending portion of the run very fast. But even with Cyclops strats, they're tanks. They're kind of like slow but steady, like a tortoise in the Tortoise and the Hare. So Cyclopses are old, reliable, and it is why they are the backup strat of choice. Hi, can you move like that? Thank you. So I'm avoiding the bear trap, because bear trap deals a lot of damage, even if it means I have to walk through fire. Fire doesn't deal as much. So, yep, I'm trying to just get through what openings I can. We'll have the team of Cyclopses go up this way, and the team of humans go up this way. That way, even if I get body blocked, like this, I will still have units progressing towards the end goal. This tends to happen. The map was designed with a lot of choke points in mind, that the AI will just decide to go, hey, you don't get to move through here anymore. Have fun being stuck and fighting, you know, the actual way the game wants you to fight. Luckily, some of the AI is getting aggroed to the randos down here, and hopefully this pixie will happen to blow up some of this fur. It'd be optimal if so, but otherwise, this bomb is also actually helpful. So, neither of the AIs, the enemy AI or the ally AI, will stand on a bomb. And that's because bombs explode and deal like 40 to 50 damage. It's ridiculous how much damage they do, but they can walk through it. And so since no enemy is going to stand here, it means they leave a gap for my king unit, my hero unit, who again does the most damage, to walk through. It's that bomb, which the bombs spawn randomly sometimes when you destroy fur. Everything in this game is random. I love it. So with that, we have my biggest DPS unit headed straight towards the objective, as well as another unit who can help do occasional things, I guess. As well as another unit, Helmetor, who's again very slow, but he will be helping, especially keep enemies off the back. I do want to keep all 4 of my units alive through this chapter, because there is another map after this. And all the units who are alive will get full heals, which is great. But that means I need to keep them alive long enough to reach that full heal. And Horatio, he's getting a little bit dogpiled. I am not a fan of this. So I'm going to try and maneuver my units in a way. Oh, this AI is helping out too. Good job, Farticus. Oh, good job, Farticus. Maneuver my units in a way that will try and keep the enemy AI as distracted as possible. So there are a bunch of different spots they can move, and okay, they do sense that he's low on health, so they're going to go after him. I need to make a human shield in order to save him now. Oh boy. Not optimal, but we'll deal with it. It's fine. Even if I lose him, it is not the end of the world. He is... well, humans at this point don't do a ton of DPS, all things considered. So, he is destroying a single fur in a turn, which is good for you, Horatio. I'm proud. But, yeah. The 2 Cyclopses are my win condition at this point in the game. So, only 1 unit will step into this spot. Or no units! Oh, thank RNG. Bless RNGsus. That's great. So, we'll get Horatio into a very safe spot back in this little cubbyhole, and then we will start preparing to attack the star. So there's still a bunch of fur in the way that I will need to clear out, but this is what the end game usually revolves down into. The AI is also being like super helpful. Usually the AI is like back here by this point. But no, they are just charging straight forward alongside me to give me their full support, which is, thank you, AI. So, the end of the game is a lot of quick calculations. Because the star counts as 1 attack space, whereas, let me do this. Whereas all the fur also counts as 1 attack space. So if I position a unit, like right here for example, it has a 50% chance to hit the star, which I want, and a 50% chance to hit the fur, which I do not want. So what I'm going to do is, as best as I can, I'm going to try and increase the odds as high as possible that I will hit the star and not any fur. This AI is being so helpful. Like, it knows I'm on a good run and a GDQ submission right now. I swear. So we're going to position you. These 2 units will both have a 50% chance, which is now 100 thanks to Horatio destroying it. So from here, I'll have 100% chance, 100% chance, and for a ranged unit, this is a 100% chance. So with all 3 of them hitting the star, I'd say it's a pretty high likelihood that I will complete the map on this next turn. And if not, 2 turns from now, guaranteed. So Yeah, wow. Like, the AI is putting in work right now. I cannot believe how unfathomably lucky I've gotten with, like, enemy AIs not spawning and ally AIs just deciding to be the best. So yeah, there we go. That is the star. Unfortunately, we now no longer have any of the AI. So it is just down to my 4 units who, like I mentioned, do get a full heal at this point. So I am fully prepared to bum rush this last star, the last objective of the game. Once I get here, it's only a matter of counting down the final escape, basically, until the end. But that doesn't mean we're away scot-free. No, no, no. There is still a lot of fur blocking my way. And, I actually want you to move here, you move here, you move here. And, again, my Cyclopses are very slow. They're going to have to reach all the way up here with their pathetic 2 movement a turn. Wow, that is a lot of bombs. That is 3 bombs in 1 turn.
You don't see me crawling on you, now.
Luckily, I'm going to get knocked away, which makes it a little safer. Yeah, I'm going to step on the bear trap because he's my hero unit and a massive tank. But I'm not super familiar with what the best option is here because I usually play this stage with a pixie. I know there's going to be an event next turn that will help me out, but I need to make sure I am positioned in a way that it actually will help me out instead of just knocking me really far back, which is bad. So I'm going to carefully avoid the event, which will happen right now. Lawnmowers. So since we don't have allies and an ally pixie to help us destroy the fur, the game gives us this instead. Lawnmowers, which will cut through the fur as well as knock enemies back. One of the enemies even got juggled by the lawnmower there. I love when that happens. So now there are 2 clear paths for my units to follow. And Horatio, I'm going to have straight up bum rush it so he can spawn as much as he can and distract what's going to be the final boss of the game in order to... where are we going to put you? Right there. In order to get them over towards him so that my Cyclopses can run up on the other side. Or maybe the final boss will come down here and Horatio will be able to finish it. Who knows? It is all RNG at this point. And my reactions to it. So, we're just going to pray for the best. And where am I getting knocked? By the hand? Oh, I barely got knocked back at all. That's really, really good. Like, everything is falling into place. It's going to be tight. I'm going to have to get a little bit of good luck with the final fur clump if I want this to be a world record. But, my last GDQ submission was also a world record for a GDQ. So if my AGDQ submission also gets that, like I won't be able to think anymore. So we'll cross our fingers. But yes. So this is the final boss of the game, Ursa Major. You do not need to defeat her at all for any reason. She's completely optional. Ursa Major is a type of enemy called a troll mob. Troll mobs are obviously big. They take up 3 spaces on the map as well as 3 spaces in your barracks if you want to equip them. That makes them even tankier than an enemy or an ally like the Cyclops, who I mentioned is one of the biggest tanks in the entire game earlier on. Which, yeah, so we're not going to deal with her. She's way too tanky for us to care about. So we're going to try and avoid her as much as possible while getting up to the final clump of fur. She can body block you really easily. 1, because she's 3 tiles big. And 2, because every turn she'll spawn these little minions, which take up space. So you can really easily just get body blocked back here if she stands in like these 3 tiles. But we actually just got even more lucky because the Hand of the Space Bear knocks back allies and enemies. And so it knocked back that little mook into a bear trap, which instantly killed it. Oh my god. It's just, that's so funny. Even if it was a world record, this is one of like the luckiest runs I've ever gotten. Just based on the sheer amount of like funny coincidences that have happened. I love this game so much, man. But, so yeah, you can see Helmator's getting super body blocked down here. There is really nothing I can do aside from try to fight my way out with him. He's just getting super grouped up on. But luckily, all 3 of my other units, including my hero Cyclops, have all made it towards the final fur clump. And so all I need to do is get a couple lucky hits on the fur. And this is not getting world record anymore. Okay, because there is still a little segment after after you beat the final fur. But yeah, okay, we're calculating odds. You don't actually need to destroy the star in order to finish the map. What you need to destroy is this fur right here. So for a melee unit, this has a 50% chance, and for a range unit, this space has a 1 in 4. Okay, so we got a little knockback, but we're gonna put a range unit there, melee unit there, and oh yeah, he is super body lock. Horatio! Horatio did it! He did it! It's a What was this a run? Oh my goodness. So yeah, unfortunately we did lose quite a bit of time just by not having a fairy in the final section, but let's see. Oh, it's Horatio, the humble blueberry farmer, loving father, and the most boring creature on the face of the... Wait, what? Good, get out of me, you charming individuals! Will Stamper is a treasure. Play the Behemoth games, please. This also in a traditional GDQ run, or the Midwest Speedfest run that I'm going to do, would be a great time for shoutouts, as you can just use Nitro to speed through this section as fast as possible, which is what I'm going to do. But for the GDQ submission, I'm going to say, hi Squid, welcome to the GDQ submission. You're in the GDQ submission now, Squid! Yay!
It's only an eternity in space. I have my crossword puzzles.
Yeah, 121 is estimate, fairly safe time. Even when things go wrong, like, for example, getting Cyclops Strat. 3, 2, 1, time. Even when things go wrong, like getting Cyclops Strat, runs like this can still come out, which, I don't know, this game is just a blessing. It hasn't ever been seen before on a GDQ main stage. I don't think it's been shown in any hotfixes either, but I don't have a good way to search that. Maybe there is one that I just don't know of. Also, I am the only runner, active runner,
guys.
so, you know,
Came true. What about
it's me.
Dream?
I want more people, because I want to, you know, the time can obviously be pushed down. And I have pushed the time down, I think 5 times I've gotten the world record. But, you know, I want more. So I'm making a guide that's going to be up within the next month before my run at Midwest Speedfest. Which, again, if you want to see me doing live commentary, that's also will be an example of that. It just won't be in time for submission period. So I have to do this now, which I'm so glad I did this now. This was a great run. I had so much fun doing it. And my voice doesn't hurt. I don't know why it would. I'm usually pretty good about keeping my voice calm. I have been talking pretty loudly because I was told when I was doing Will the Wisp runs that my voice is a little bit quiet over the mic. So I've been trying to talk louder and also turn down the game audio, but yeah. Shoutouts to Squidilla for being a cool dude who I met last GDQ and who's hyping me up in chat. Thank you, Squid, so much. Hopefully I'll see you at AGDQ, man. But in the meantime, I am going to close out this submission video. Thank you so much for watching, Squidilla, and for the GDQ Games Committee. I hope you consider this game for AGDQ 2024. It is an absolute hilarious blast of a game, and I would be honored to play it for you live. Or not live, but I'm going to be there live, so you might not want to have me remote run from the hotel Wi-Fi. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye. Where's my off button? There's my off button.